31 minutes on the clock. Once it hits 30 minutes, I'm gonna start painting. I'm gonna do a quick 30-minute warm-up, which is something that I try and do every week, and see how that turns out. And this is my first time talking while doing it, so we'll also see how that turns out, because usually I'm sitting here in silence blasting music. Let's see how this goes. 3, 2, 1. Okay. I didn't even make sure that I was on the right thing. I'm gonna go straight in with no guidelines, no sketching, because it's just faster to not have to worry about that. I'd rather just get in all the dark shapes. That's why I always start with black as well, because most times it's, dark hair. Don't want to try and do this with light hair. I struggle without a timer doing light hair, to be honest, in grayscale specifically. The ear in there. Put the shadow for the chin so we can get the shape of the head a little bit. I'm not trying to copy exactly the portrait. I'm still trying to do it like in my style, but sometimes you can't help that when you're just trying to rush and only look at really like focus and study. I mean, it's still also a study. It's not just doing it in my style, but still trying to learn. Not just learning efficiency, I'm still learning, shapes and anatomy and stuff like that while I'm doing this. And I'm listening to a specific album right now, actually, and if you wanted to know, then you would have to ask me in the comments. I'm not telling you here. Okay, let's get the shadow for the eye. I always like putting the shadow because why is this upside down? There's always a dark indent around the eye, so that it just makes it way faster. And this is basically guidelines. When people say you don't need a sketch and I don't need to use a sketch, but it's just faster. But this is basically the same thing as if I grabbed a pencil. It's the same idea. How far are we in? 27 minutes. Not bad. Got a lot of the basic shapes down. Get these lips in. I also like starting out with black because it lays down a good different shades into this, because the brush that I use doesn't just lay down black. There's variation in shading, so I can just copy the colors. I don't necessarily have to use my palette. I say that the palette is there for if I think of a specific color that I want to use, but most times I just grab off of the canvas. Also, the reference over here, the little screen, I use that a lot when I'm painting, so I don't have to. If I zoom in, then that won't be that much of an issue. And that's a thing I've seen people online talk about when it comes to specifically painting with digital art, is to not zoom in too much, because you'll lose a lot of the bigger shapes and details that will matter when you zoom out. So that's why I always keep that up there too. Okay, let's get the shape of the eyes. I'm getting close to wanting to flip the canvas so that I have a good foundation of the way the head is tilting. I'm kind of seeing it being not too well, so I might flip it here. And I flip the reference when I do that too. Just easier. And Liquify is my best friend. I love Procreate specifically for the Liquify tool. I think it's much better than Photoshop. I don't know much about Clip Studio. I haven't really tried that program that much, but it definitely is my big reason why I like using Procreate. And this painting is definitely different than most of the time when I try and do this, because I try and pick a very simple one. This one isn't that complicated, but the shape, the angle of the head is definitely gonna give me issues while I do this. Probably the part that will slow me down the most is how much I'm gonna have to correct that. And I made the ear so big, I just realized. It is not that big. Let me just cover it up and redo it. Might need to make the zoom in a little bit, and I made the eyes kind of big too. I am aware of it. People always point out that the eyes are too big in my paintings. I'm aware. Sometimes I do it on purpose, sometimes I don't. And I won't tell you when I do and when I don't do it on purpose, but it is what it is. If I post a painting, then it's done. I don't really, unless it's one of these where I only have 30 minutes to finish, but most paintings aren't this. So if I post a painting, that means it's done. I'm not really going back to it. I move on. Unless it's a redraw thing. But yeah, for the most part, I do not go back and keep working on paintings, because I feel like I've learned as much as I could from that one specific reference in painting. So it's not really a waste of time, but it's just, I think I'll learn way more from just moving on. Haven't really done much with the face and with the mouth, so let's do this a little bit more. And maybe if I have enough time, then I'll bring the pencil tool out, which is always the thing I use for the finishing touches in my paintings, especially in the ones that I actually have time to do it in. Most times I don't really have that much time to do it in these paintings, but we'll see. I really love the shape of her lips here, actually. I'm gonna get that right. And the, wait, is this the right one? Yep. And the smudge tool, beloved smudge tool. See, I can zoom in like this and still see it up there. We're already at 19 minutes. Yeah, 19. Well, just past 20 actually. Okay, so one thing I'm kind of noticing is that the eye here, this eye, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna duplicate this. Before I like get way too ahead of myself, I'm actually gonna fill this in. That's too dark. And I'm going to delete that. And I'm going to duplicate this, and then I'm going to duplicate it again. Then I'm going to lasso this eye and move it more up, kind of. Yeah. There we go. Well, let me make it smaller. Okay, I think that's good. Now merge down. Cool. I try not to have too many layers. Only when like I make big adjustments like that is when I usually try and keep it, but usually at the end I just delete it. Anyway, I saw on TikTok people saying that the sign for how you know somebody's doing AI art is them using them not having that many layers, and I thought that was very funny because that kind of like, not to be like, this isn't me like judging people in like their own workflow and stuff like that, but it kind of sounds kind of beginner, like sounds like a kind of a beginner like outlook on it, because I wouldn't say I'm an expert, but like I don't use that many layers unless it might be a very complicated portrait, so you don't always use a lot of layers, especially for painting. Especially for the type of paintings that I want to do. I want to mimic real life traditional painting when I do mine. That's why I use this brush. But yeah, I just thought that was really funny because not necessarily. That's a very bold statement to make. I think people need to hold off on making generalizations sometimes because it makes them look foolish. When I'm doing this type of painting, I always like I just go everywhere. I don't have like a specific flow of this. I just look at what I need to do, like once I lay out all the shapes, what I need to refine more, what stuff matters the most in the amount of time that I have, how can I be the most efficient, how can I like make this look the way I want in the amount of time that I have. Like being realistic. Okay, let's get into the eyes because the eyes are kind of wonky. Remember when I said let's start on the eyes and I go straight to the lips? Not my fault. Okay, I'm gonna put the canvas again. Oh, wrong. Been on that side for a little while. I love this brush when doing the lips too, because just I try my best not to make it make the lips look chapped, but there's just so much texture and stuff like that that I really like that it adds. Because I want to post this same day. Today's Wednesday, and this might be a late upload, but I do want to post it today, and I'll have the edited down short version of this done for tomorrow. It's just that easy. I might have to do the other eye a little bit different, so this one adds up a little bit more. This one might. I'm gonna make it bigger. I don't care. This is about my preference anyway. I don't care what people say. There you go. That looks better. To me, constantly fighting the urge to make the eyes bigger. 10 minutes. I would be yapping and talking way more if I wasn't stressed out. And I hope that people are drawing along with me. That's like something I would love. to know if that was a thing. I think that would be really cool. 8 minutes. Okay, I'm seeing one little thing. I don't want it to be exactly like the painting, but I did want to fix that because that was kind of bothering me. I would be on working on these lips for hours if I had the time. That part is my favorite part. Feels like it brings the whole thing together. About 6 minutes. Okay, let's just refine everything a little bit, add some more details. Not that big of a deal. I could honestly say I was done at this point, but I would definitely love to add some more stuff to make it more roundabout. I'm definitely doing like shortcuts right now still. Okay, let's do the ear a little bit. Make these hair shines a little bit more pronounced. With this color. I think one of the funniest things about the whole like color theory trend online is I never saw anybody do the same thing but with grayscale, which I might do because it kind of works the same way. You think a color is like really dark and like this shade, and then it's super light on top of black. Sorry, this shade. Like it stands out tremendously. $252. I do want to bring out the little pencil brush that I have before time's up. So I get the eyelashes in and little hair strands and stuff like that, just to add into the detail of everything. Okay, almost done here. I hope if you did a drawing that it's gone well and you're not freaking out. There's no reason to, because you can continue doing it. Don't have to stop after this. Not like that. 50 seconds. $30. 9 seconds. Oh, that was very fun. I really like the way that turned out, actually. I think it looks pretty great. Let's take away this stuff so you can see it. Some more stuff I would probably do is, you know, more details to the eyes, definitely, and the hair. Refine the ear a little bit, make the shading not as messy around the neck, but I really like this style. Like the messiness really speaks to me. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed watching this. We'll most likely see you again next week with the same thing but different portrait. Goodbye.